White mediocrity and it triggered you, didn't it? Let's talk about it. A fundamental adage in the Black community is the idea that we have to work twice as hard to get half as far. And that is a literal reality. And it's a reality that Black people have to contend with on the daily in America. It's the idea and reality of being underestimated upon first glance and then busting your ass to be as good as you possibly can and not getting any attention or praise for it, all the while watching your very fundamentally mediocre peers or coworkers get celebrated for the bare minimum.
As white people, is our deepest fear that we are inadequate? Or is our deepest fear that Black excellence is powerful beyond measure?
Child, I was on TikTok the other day, y'all, and I can't even remember the post. But baby, I went to those comments. Y'all gotta go to the comments. Sometimes it don't all the way be that post. It be the comments. So fast forward, I go down in the comments, and this person said, she just knows in her heart of hearts that Black success, Black excellence is a direct pipeline to white racism.
It's so weird watching Black people get mad at white people for starting functioning white communities.
First of all, no one's mad. Not one of us is mad. We're actually very happy for you.
You know how happy we'd be to see Black people start a functioning Black community? We would leave you to it. We would be, oh my goodness, good for you guys.
You're a liar. Y'all have literally never left us alone. But let's get to the point of, but you would be happy if Black people created their own functional communities, which is also false. And I think you know that.
I'm going to keep saying this with my whole chest because some people are not deep thinkers. I understand that you're not a critical thinker. This is not for you. It's just not for you. Scroll up. So, my point today is, well, not today, but at this moment, why does Black joy bother some white people? And some other groups, but majority is white people. And not all of you. You know what I'm talking about. You ever notice how the group of Black folks, they come together laughing, dancing, and just vibing, and suddenly it's labeled as too loud, too ghetto, or too much? Jealousy. Jealousy.
I never learned about Black Wall Street in school. I learned about it in whispers, in the hushed tones of my grandfather, who would tell me about a place that sounded like a fairy tale. A city within a city, where Black doctors, lawyers, and shop owners thrived. Where the streets weren't paved with gold, but with dignity and self-determination. For a long time, I thought he was telling me a parable, a lesson on what could be. It wasn't until I was much older that I understood he was telling me a ghost story. A story about a vibrant, breathing community that was slaughtered in broad daylight. And the monster in that story wasn't a phantom or a beast. It was a mob of white faces, twisted by a rage they could not contain. A rage ignited not by what Black people lacked, but by what we had achieved. This is the central, painful paradox of race in America. Black excellence has always been a direct trigger for white rage.
So the headline I've got for you might not catch your eye, but if you continue watching, I promise you won't regret it. We're going to talk about Central Park in New York City, and we're going to talk about what was there before it was Central Park. So it's 1825. We're in Manhattan. That plot of land that is now Central Park was originally owned by two farmers. I know it's hard to believe, farmland in New York City, yes. At this time, it wasn't as much of a city as it is now, obviously. But these two farmers owned that entire plot of land, and they decided to divide their farmland into about 200 lots, and they decided to sell it. The first 3 lots were sold to a Black man named Andrew Williams, which was actually really cool because back in this time, there wasn't that many white people who would have been willing to sell land to an African-American. And the farmers that owned the land, their last name was the Whiteheads. So when I say Whiteheads, that's who I'm referring to. But the Whiteheads were one of very few white people who were willing to sell land to Black people at this time. And the Black man who bought the land, Williams, he was actually a part of the New York African Society for Mutual Relief. And this was a program to help with the Black community in New York. So with this happening, other Black people decided to buy lots around where Williams bought his to build a community in this area. And this was especially important that it was in this area because the Whiteheads were, again, one of very, very, very few people who were willing to sell to Black people at that time. And then a Black store clerk ended up buying about 12 lots. Then there was an African Methodist church that bought 6 lots. And as they slowly built this community, it became a lot more desirable and safe for Black families in New York City because there was other Black people that they could congregate with and feel safe around. Because at the time, there wasn't a lot of rights for Black people and they weren't being treated properly. They still aren't, but it was a lot worse back then. And about a third of the population in this area was also white, but they weren't just regular white people. Most of them were Irish immigrants, which was another group of people that regular white people in New York were not willing to sell to. So the Whitehead family was more than willing to sell them plots of land as well. So they also were in that area as well. But by the time it was put all together, they had 3 churches, 3 cemeteries, and 2 schools. And Seneca Village was also a place of political power for black people because there was no 14th and 15th Amendments in 1855. So this meant that black people had no voting power unless in New York City at this time, the only way that black people were allowed to vote is if they owned at least $250 worth of land and they had been residing there for at least 3 years. So living in Seneca Village for these people gave them the power to vote. This allowed them to meet that property requirement and give them some sort of power in the government. So at the time, of the 100 black people in the entire state of New York who were allowed to vote, 10 of them lived in Seneca Village. So that's 10%. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot. In 1850, there were 71 black people who owned property, and 20% of them lived in Seneca Village. But then, in 1853, New York passed a law for the construction of Central Park. Seneca Village is located in the west side of Central Park, just for context. It took up about 5 acres of the 775 acres of land that the park is. So it was pretty much an unnecessary change that was made. And the reason the government was able to do this was because of eminent domain. It's a right that the government still has and will always have. It's why gentrification still happens. But it's the government's right to take property, even private property, if the government is in belief that it's for the public interest. And that is why we also have highways built over the bones and the historical sites of natives and black people and all kinds of different people. Because if the government wants it, they can do that. So they tore down every cemetery, every church, every school, and every home to build that park. So if you ever go visit Central Park, specifically the west side, know where you're walking and what you're walking on.
So weird watching black people get mad at white people for starting functioning white communities.
First of all, no one's mad. Not one of us is mad. We're actually very happy for you.
Like, you know how happy we'd be to see black people start a functioning black community? Like, we would leave you to it. We would be, oh my goodness, good for you guys.
You're a liar. Y'all have literally never left us alone. But let's get to the point of, but you would be happy if black people created their own functional communities, which is also false, and I think you know that. From the Reconstruction period to Jim Crow, well into the 1920s, black people built free and independent towns. Yet instead of being left alone, those towns were deliberately targeted. They were destroyed, they were burned down, they were bombed, and many of the residents were unalived as a result. Their property and wealth was confiscated from them, and 100 years later, the members of that community still have not received any sort of healing and reconciliation to atone for the sins committed upon them by the white residents and by the white legislators and police officers. White supremacist violence was not just tolerated, it was heavily encouraged. Fast forward to my hometown of Philadelphia to 1985, where city officials dropped an explosive device on American soil, on Americans, at a row house in North Philadelphia because it was occupied by a black liberation movement, which resulted in a fire that spread to over 2 city blocks, destroying dozens of homes, displacing hundreds of people in a predominantly black neighborhood. 11 people were unalived, half of them were children. And still to this day, 30 years plus later, no one has been held accountable. And those are just 2 examples. There are hundreds of examples that there have been deliberate efforts to systematically oppress black success and upward mobility. Whenever and wherever black people have built independent economies, educational networks, businesses for both safety and autonomy, they have deliberately been attacked. Because historically, right, let's just go on the facts, black success has oftentimes been met with white sabotage.
To understand the rage, you must first understand the excellence. Imagine Tulsa, Oklahoma, in the early 1920s. The oil boom has made it a wild, wealthy, and deeply segregated city. And in the Greenwood district, something miraculous was flowering. This was not a neighborhood of shanties and despair. This was a fully realized, self-sustaining ecosystem of black prosperity. We're talking about over 190 black-owned businesses. Not just corner stores, but a 54-room luxury hotel owned by J.B. Stratford, a 750-seat movie theater, the Dreamland, where you could watch silent films accompanied by a live orchestra. There were 2 newspapers, 3 dozen grocery stores, and doctors and lawyers whose clientele was the thriving black community around them. This was the ultimate expression of Buy Black, a dollar circulating dozens of times within the community, building wealth, confidence, and independence. It was a direct challenge to the white supremacist narrative of the day, the idea that black people were inherently inferior, incapable of civilization or sophisticated enterprise. Greenwood was living, breathing, prosperous proof that the narrative was a lie. And a lie, when confronted with an undeniable truth, has only 2 choices, to reform or to destroy. We know which path was chosen.
As white people, is our deepest fear that we are inadequate? Or is our deepest fear that black excellence is powerful beyond measure? It is their light, not their darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who are they to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are they not to be? Look honestly, and you will see how they demonstrate love as a reflection of our unwarranted hate. Our playing God does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about positioning ourselves and controlling the narrative so that black and brown folks feel insecure around us. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to manifest the glory of the spirit that is within us. And it's not just in some of us, it's in all of us, no matter what your skin tone is. And as we let our own light shine, by atoning for and repairing the harm of our ways, as we learn to serve and see the true greatness of Aboriginal and Indigenous cultures and human beings around us. We unconsciously give white people around the planet the permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fears, our presence automatically liberates others. From this point, we can build a new world that is connected to the planet and each other. Together, humanity is achievable.
White mediocrity. It triggered you, didn't it? Let's talk about it. A fundamental adage in the Black community is the idea that we have to work twice as hard to get half as far. And that is a literal reality. And it's a reality that Black people have to contend with on the daily in America. It's the idea and reality of being underestimated upon first glance and then busting your ass to be as good as you possibly can and not getting any attention or praise for it, all the while watching your very fundamentally mediocre peers or coworkers get celebrated for the bare minimum. It's like that time in law school where this guy in my class anonymously and relentlessly emailed me telling me that I'd only got in because of affirmative action and no one did anything about it. Or that time when Barack Obama wore a tan suit to a press conference and everyone lost their mind, but here we are in Trump's America. The thing is, Black people don't get to be fundamentally average or mediocre. And if they are those things, they're called a welfare queen, or they're lazy, or they're undereducated, or they just don't know how to work for the things they want, right? But you look around, throw a stone, and you'll encounter hundreds of mediocre, average white people being celebrated for the bare minimum. To be Black in this country is to be constantly monitored and surveilled and criticized and detested all of the time. And to be successful, it's not enough to just be good. You have to be brilliant. You have to be beautiful. You have to be exceptional. You have to be charismatic. You have to be humble. You can't brag about it too much, right? It's not enough to be one thing. You have to be all of the things at the same time, or you're fucked. But the gift of whiteness is the gift of just existing, right? White people are permitted to just exist, to be mediocre, to be average, to do the bare minimum, and to be celebrated for that bare minimum, to be promoted for doing very little, right? White mediocrity is almost like a psychological safety net for white people, right? They know that no matter how far they fall, they'll never be considered lower than Black people. And that gives them a certain joie de vivre, doesn't it? And this term, white mediocrity, is not meant as a diss. It's meant more of as a challenge, right? I have tons of white people that I like, that I'm friends with, my mother, my partner, right? What I'm saying is the structures of America have been built so that white people prosper with doing very little. And the structures are also meant to keep Black people down, right? And we have to fight against those structures unless you love the fact that white mediocrity got you to where you are. Meanwhile, qualified people of color face immense barriers and obstacles to get anywhere in life. And you guys blame any sort of Black success on DEI and affirmative action, right? So let's go through some examples about white mediocrity and counter them against some Black excellence. Donald Trump bested Kamala Harris. That's insane. A lot of you really firmly believe that Taylor Swift is a better artist than Beyonce. That is fundamentally insane. Donald Trump is the president currently, and he's compared to Barack Obama. That is insane. There have been 44 white presidents and a single Black president. Also crazy. I can already hear the white keyboard warriors typing furiously, so angry at me. I got to where I was because of my skills. And I'm not saying that you're not skilled. I'm just saying you were born with so many advantages, right? You were born on third place, and Black people were born in the parking lot, and still they surpass you. And you can't blame that on DEI or affirmative action, right? You can blame that on Black excellence and the fact that you rely on white mediocrity and the structures that permit you to be that way. Ultimately, I'm not saying that I hate white people or I think they're undeserving of the success they have. What I am asking you to acknowledge all of the time is that you were given so many privileges in order to get where you are today, right? And I need you to inspect your life and make sure that you're accounting for that privilege and helping lift up other marginalized folks. If my talking about Black excellence and boasting about the successes of Black people makes you mad, that tells me everything I need to know about you. That explains why you voted for Donald Trump over and over again against your best interests. Why you literally think that Taylor Swift is a better artist than Beyonce. Why you hate Obama even though he gave you healthcare, right? You hate Black excellence because it's a mirror to potentially your own mediocrity. And for that, I would suggest you go to a therapist.
The tinder was the success of Greenwood. The spark was a lie. On May 30th, 1921, a 19-year-old Black shoe shiner named Dick Rowland entered an elevator operated by a 17-year-old white girl named Sarah Page. What happened in that elevator is still unclear. A stumbled grasp, a startled scream, but the consequence was catastrophic. The next day, the Tulsa Tribune ran a sensationalized front-page story accusing Rowland of assault. The white community was galvanized by outrage, but it was an outrage looking for a target. The target was not just one young man. The target was the entire idea of Black men having access to white women, a deep-seated fear in the racist psyche. But more than that, it was an excuse. The burgeoning white mob saw an opportunity to put the uppity Negroes of Greenwood in their place. When a group of Black World War I veterans, armed with the dignity they had fought for overseas, went to the courthouse to prevent a lynching, they were met with contempt. A white man tried to disarm a Black veteran. A shot was fired, and in that single gunshot, the mob found its permission to unleash a hell that had been simmering for years.
I'm in these non-toxic groups on Facebook where people live non-toxic lives and we're looking for non-toxic recommendations for the products that we use. And I made a Facebook post, this was a while back, and I was like, I'm looking for Black-owned non-toxic hair product recommendations for my entire family who has various hair types. And my post was just met with so many white women who are like, that's racist. Why are you looking for Black-owned? I'm telling you, this post got endless comments full of hatred. It just kept coming and coming and coming. We support Black businesses to get rid of the racial wealth gap. It's seriously the least that you can do. It's the easiest thing that you can do. So I was talking with these people in the comments and they're coming at me and they're attacking me. And it brought out a side of me that I'm not proud of because I called them what they were. And basically, my entire post got taken down. And so I didn't get any answers. But if this isn't a really good example of how white people don't want black people to succeed, I don't know what is. And so if you have any good recommendations for non-toxic products in general that are black owned, I would love for you to drop them in the comments, because I did get a couple of answers, but the post got taken down so suddenly that I couldn't write them down. And then some that we found that we ended up trying just didn't work out the way that we hoped. We have hair types ranging from 4A to C and hair like mine. I'm always looking for black owned businesses that I can support in general, and products that are non-toxic are a big plus.
Y'all be getting tired of me talking about stuff like this, and y'all be thinking like I'm OD and I'm just dragging it, but I promise y'all I'm not. The example, the story time I'm gonna give y'all is literally the reason why I be saying stuff I be saying. If the shoe fits, then wear Cinderella. If not, keep scrolling. Don't be coming to my comments talking about some, well, not all, babes. Yeah, majority, but not all. Y'all be thinking I'm lying when I say that a lot of white women, literally, they do not like seeing a black woman do better than them. They do not like seeing a black woman who is prettier than them. They don't like seeing a black woman that overpasses them. As long as you're not doing better than them, then they're good. I'm friends. She's black. With a girl who runs track, and I was spending some time with her, like, you know, talking with her. I talked to her in a minute. I'm sitting on the couch or whatever, I'm on the phone, and I'm talking to her. She's telling me about this teammate who's also her roommate. She's white. She started telling me about the passive and microaggressive behavior that her teammate would show her during practice and in her dorm room. And I'm like, okay, what do you mean? Explain. She told me about a situation where, like, every day in practice she beats her. Her times are always faster than hers. Like, you know, she overpasses her in everything she does. She said she would look at her white teammate whenever they would get done running and ask her if she's good, she's okay, because she'd be huffing and puffing and breathing hard like she ain't, you know, took a breath in hours. And she said the white girl would just like side at her, give her a dirty look, and just won't say nothing. Then she said there was this one time when they were in practice and they were doing time trials and they were running and whatnot, and she ended up beating her. My friend, the black girl, she's not the fastest on her team. There's maybe like a few people that's faster than her by a little bit, but she's like top 3, top 5. And the people that's faster than her maybe by like a little bit are not black, but still. There was one day in practice they were doing the time trials, and after everybody got done running, her roommate, the white girl, starts crying, and people start surrounding her, asking her what's wrong, and her teammate looks at her, not the other girls that's faster than her. She looks at my friend, the black girl, goes, she can't be better than me. She can't be better. She can't be faster than me. Like, white women do not like seeing black women surpass them. Like, I kid you, I'm not making this up. I looked at my fan, because we over the phone. I'm looking at my friend, I'm like, she said that out loud, or did she say that to you, or did you just hear it around the grapevine? She said no, she said that out loud. That's what she told the people that was checking on her, that was asking about her. She was like, she said it out loud. She said she cannot be better than me. She cannot be faster than me. Mind you, my friend, the black girl, is not the fastest on the team. She's top 5, but she is not the top fastest. Top fastest are not even black. But it's like she picked my friend out and was like, oh, she can't be better than me. She can't be faster than me. Do y'all see what I'm like? Do y'all see what I'm talking about though? Like, do y'all see what I mean? It's like I had a conversation with my best friend like a week ago, and we got kind of like a mini argument about this, because he was trying to say, well, shit, not all white people are bad, not all white girls are bad. And I said, I'm not saying every white person is bad. You gotta read the fruits of their spirits first. I was explaining to him, bro, a lot of these white people will smile and kiki in your face, because I think I've seen videos and I've met her teammate before. She's really sweet, super nice. I was like, a lot of these white women will smile and kiki and ha-ha in your face. A lot of these white people will smile and kiki and ha-ha in your face, but when you're not around, you're having conversations with their families about how they feel about black people, how they feel about people of color. Low-key, they be hiding, you know, envy in their heart. They be in these one-sided competitions with you. My friend was literally telling me that there's times where she would do things and say things and try to pick fights with her, and you could tell that she's doing it just to get a reaction out of her. That's why I'm not saying all white people are bad. I'm not saying all white women are bad. I am not. You know, I can read the fruits of the spirit of someone, and I can tell if they're, like, you know, a genuine person or not. A lot of y'all, when you're dealing with white people, especially as a black woman, when you're dealing with white women, this is a tick for tack game. I promise you, I win every time. This is a tick for tack game with them. You gotta have strategy when dealing with them. I told my friend, I said, you need to make sure you're praying over yourself. I said, you need to make sure you keep yourself prayed over, watch your back and whatnot, because to be around someone like that is dangerous. It's very obvious that she's envious of you. It's very obvious that she's in this one-sided beef with you. And I said, anything that she can do to trip you up, get you in trouble, do anything to screw you up, she's going to do it. And then play victim, act like she ain't do nothing. I said, you need to be careful. This is what I be talking about. Like, I know y'all be thinking, oh, Shay's dramatic, Shay's just so super pro-black. No, like, these are real life situations that people are going through. It's a dangerous position to be in. Like, I don't.
The goalpost is constantly moved once a black person is overachieving. One thing they're going to do is move the goalpost if a black person is exceeding expectations. Like, it literally happens all the time. It happens in the workplace. It happens in media and really music, from what I'm really thinking about, and awards, literally elections, the presidency, like achievements, period. It seems like the goalpost is always moved when black people are achieving or really succeeding. Like when they burned down Tulsa, quite literally. Black Wall Street, burnt that down, got rid of it because what? Black people were achieving, overachieving, and then goalposts were moved. Just like with taxes and, oh my God, literally basically the whole system in general. Every goalpost seems to be moved when a black person is exceeding expectations, when they are succeeding in a big way. And I've always noticed that, and it's crazy.
This isn't just a historical or psychological discussion. It's a daily reality with real-world consequences. The rage doesn't always come with a hood. It often comes with a smile and a 911 call. It's the well-meaning neighbor who calls the police on a black family moving into their new home, not because they're doing anything wrong, but because their presence feels wrong. It's the constant need to have your credentials ready, your receipts on hand, your demeanor perfectly calibrated to be non-threatening, even in your moment of triumph. I'll never forget the story a colleague told me. She had just been promoted to a senior director position, a first for a Black woman in her company. The first email she received wasn't congratulations from everyone. It was an anonymous, hateful message accusing her of sleeping her way to the top. This is the modern face of the rage. It's the attempt to punish, to diminish, to tarnish. It's the desperate effort to push us back into the box of stereotype, because our excellence is a constant, living reminder that the box is a lie. When they can't beat your excellence, they will try to assassinate your character.
Yeah, I was on TikTok the other day, y'all, and I can't even remember the post, but baby, I went to those comments. Y'all gotta go to the comments. Sometimes it don't all the way be that post, it be the comments. So fast forward, I go down the comments, and this person said, she just knows in her heart of hearts that Black success, Black excellence is a direct pipeline to white racism. And baby, I had to pause. I had to pause because y'all know it's true. Because nothing, and I mean nothing, pisses racist white folks off more than Black success. Baby, you can set your watch by it. The moment a Black person shines, here they come. And baby, they be big mad. Look around. Shador Sanders, drag. Jasmine Crockett, attack. Stacey Abrams, undermine. Barack and Michelle Obama, baby, they been long gone and they still catching hate over being overqualified. Meanwhile, Donnie and them ran up in the White House with resumes of a used car salesman. Baby, nepotism at its best. Underqualified ain't even the word. But when it's us, baby, they gonna twist that story, twist that narrative, and tie themselves in knots trying to convince the world that we don't belong. And why though? Because deep down inside, they know, baby, they could never. We've done more with less. We thrive in a system that is built for our demise. And baby, they could never. That's why their brain short circuits with rage. That's why their comments overflow with vitriol. And honestly, y'all, I love that for us. I do. Because every time that rage gets out of hand, it's proof that our excellence is undeniable. So happy Black History 365, y'all. Keep shining, keep winning, because our success will always expose their mediocrity. See y'all next time.
I'm gonna keep saying this with my whole chest because some people are not deep thinkers. I understand that you're not a critical thinker. This is not for you. This is just not for you. Scroll up. So, my point today is, well, not today, but at this moment, like, why does Black joy bother some white people? And some other groups, but majority is white people. And not all of you, you know what I'm talking about. You ever notice how the group of Black folks, like, they come together laughing, dancing, and just vibing, and suddenly it's labeled as too loud, too ghetto, or too much? Jealousy. Jealousy. You know why? Because they couldn't strip that away. And it's surviving. But let's be real. It's not about the volume that's the problem. It's the vibrations. It's the freedom. It's the fact that we can still find joy after centuries of trying to be stripped of who we are. We still made something out of nothing. You understand? See, Black joy is like disruptive in some people. It challenges. And where we're supposed to be broken, angry, and silent, it's like loving, living, and celebrating. So it's not just confusion. It's threatening to a certain group of people. Because Black joy, for us, is power, is resistance, is healing, is ancestral. Of all the things they said we could not do, it's lies. Remember, we were here way before other groups were here. And now our happiness is not a performance. It's reclaiming who we said we always were. So the next time somebody looks uncomfortable with your Black joy, remember that. You're not the problem. They're just uncomfortable. And can't believe that after all this time, we are still celebrating who we are and who we are meant to be and who we are growing to be. So tell me, have you ever felt like your joy made somebody else uncomfortable? Let's talk about it, y'all. To me, I don't give a flying fuck who feels uncomfortable. This is my life, my body. And if you feel uncomfortable, move the fuck away. Right? Because where I was for Black Weekend, we were on the side, I'm not gonna say the grown folk side, but we like our peace. So of course, it was a mix of Black and white people. Like, we all around each other. We all talking to each other. You think anybody grabbed their purse because they see bikers in leather? No, they're used to it. They're talking, they're waving, they're like, oh, let me tell me about your bike, blah, 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 blah. These are people talking, not afraid and not jealous. There are some, but we didn't cross any this weekend. Okay? But have y'all ever experienced that? Like, you having joy, you having celebration, especially with all the graduates. Did you see those comments talking about Black fatigue in the comments of Black joy celebrating the college? See, the point that I'm trying to get at is no one who doesn't, how can I say this? If you Black, you understand. It comes naturally. And it doesn't matter what state you're from. We all have a common denominator of celebrating our Blackness. And people can't stand that. People can't stand that. And I'm not just talking about in America. If we go somewhere else, Black joy is celebrated different ways, but we still have that common denominator of celebrating of what we achieve regardless of the fact. Okay, let me get off my soapbox. Anyway, happy Tuesday.
But here is the truth they fail to grasp. Our excellence was never for them. It was never a request for permission or a plea for validation. Our excellence is an ancestral imperative. It is a force of nature. It is the same ingenuity that allowed us to survive the Middle Passage, to create jazz from silence, to build universities from nothing, to code the future from the fragments of a broken past. The rage is a reaction, but our excellence is a rhythm. It is the persistent, unbreakable rhythm of our rise. We create, we innovate, we lead, we heal, and we love, not in spite of the rage, but often because of it. It forges our resilience. It clarifies our purpose. We are not rising to surpass them. We are rising to become the fullest expression of ourselves, an expression that was always there, waiting for the world to stop glaring long enough to see it.
Hi guys, I have a little story time for you. So in the past 2 days, I've been getting harassed and stalked by a random white girl who's 19 from Georgia. I'll show you the receipts and we'll get into it. Okay, so I was taking a break from social media for the past 2 days because, like, I'm feeling a bit insecure. I'm like, let me just get off. So yesterday I go back on my phone and my phone's like not disturbed, so I'm still like going through my notifications and I see, some little hate comments from this girl. Her name is Emma Grace. So she starts off with Wendy Williams build, jump rope tatas, your chi-chis touch your knees, whatever that means. Bob, this looks a mess, do it run to the fam, never mind. Braid sitting at the back of your head, I'm crying, wrong answer, forehead. Keep in mind, I don't know this girl, I don't know her. So I post and also my story, and a bunch of my friends were like, this girl busted tea, because let me tell you, some of my friends on Instagram, they'll go off on a hoe, like it's just I guess like what comes to friendship, like if you really care about your friend, you're gonna be like, what's the tea? So I deleted whatever she said from my inbox because I'm like, okay, I don't really care. But she has been like just being racist, saying I'm ugly, saying just being a bully. And so I blocked her yesterday, and I was like, okay, like, you know what? You sound mad because beautiful women don't hate. Beautiful women do not hate, regardless of how you feel about someone else's beauty. Beautiful women do not hate, right? That's just clear sign that you're miserable. So then she messaged me again today. So I posted on Instagram today, looking cute, and she was like, woodchuck. I said, you're obsessed with me, I love you. Because for me, I used to be the type of girl that was very insecure, let anyone just say anything to me, and it would like kind of fuck with my self-worth. Now I don't do that because clearly I'm a beautiful girl, and people are mad, not y'all, but haters be haters. So let's get into it. I said, you're obsessed with me, I love you so much. She then does a screenshot of Thomas the Train on my forehead. My beautiful East African forehead, of course. So I then sent her a selfie. I'm like, my beautiful pearly teeth, because I've had braces for 5 years, and she kept making fun of my teeth, saying I was what I call like buck teeth, and I was like, where are you? Like, okay, let's send her a selfie. She said, girl, you ugly as fuck, I cannot lie to you. I said, I'm ugly. That's okay. She says, I'm glad you know, and I said, so is your soul. Because how you see yourself is how you see the world, and if you are going to be bullying other people, you must be some type of hurt, that soul must be rotten, and that face card must be declined. Then starts with the racist antics. She says, glad you know. I said, so is your soul, back to what I said before. She then does this, picture of an African-American woman. And I said, because beautiful women don't tear other women down regardless. So before I reveal Miss Emma Grace, can we just ponder and think about what race she could possibly be? I don't know, is she black, is she white, is she Asian, is she mixed, is she Latina? I wonder, let's reveal. And she is a white woman, of course. When you are a beautiful black woman, you will get all types of haters, no matter the race, no matter the gender. But in my experience, I've experienced a lot of racism from white women, but also a lot of love from conservative men. So I'm like, okay, I don't know how that correlates, but I think that when you are a beautiful girl, especially a beautiful black woman, white people have taught us to hate ourselves. And when you do not hate yourself, you will attract a bunch of people who want you to hate yourself, if that makes sense. And I just cannot take part of that anymore. I'm not gonna hate myself. I know I'm beautiful. I don't really care for anyone else's opinion but mine. My life experiences say otherwise. I've expressed in my other TikToks that, I've had girls be jealous of me, try to take my man, create fake profiles of me, do all this crazy stuff. And that's just what comes with being beautiful. You're gonna attract all types of attention, good or bad. What I'm learning is that bad attention is also good, because, you know what I'm saying? Like, bad attention is also good in a certain way, depending how people are perceiving you online. But Miss Emma Grace, I'm sorry you did not win this war with me. I'm gonna continue shining because only God can stop what I have. Only God can take away, what's meant to be in my life, and you are a bully, and you clearly are feeling some type of insecurity or lack of self-worth if you feel like you have to bully others. And yeah, I found this whole situation funny. I'm so sorry for the bad, sorry, I had to remove her picture. I'm so sorry for the, the lack of self-worth you have, but do not project onto other people, especially beautiful women, because it does not make your soul prettier. Thank you.
If you let blacks get control, everything would change. With some people, there was no...
I'd love to hear from white people, or perhaps even just anybody, about what is this fear of blacks taking control and blacks taking the majority. It reminds me of working in social justice and working in a museum talking about slavery and racism, and how many white people talked about the fear that they had growing up of black people. And it honestly never made any sense to me, because I thought if anyone should be afraid, it should be the black people who are afraid of the white people. We're the ones that have been dealing with the racial terror. Why are white people so afraid of us? Why are white people so scared of us? I genuinely don't get it. So I really like to open a dialogue. What is the fear that white people have of black people and black people gaining authority? Why is that scary?
So where does this leave us? The connection is clear. Black excellence equals white rage. It is an equation written in our history, etched into our psychology, and played out on our streets and in our boardrooms. Understanding this is the first step. The challenge, however, is what we do with this knowledge. The challenge for anyone who witnesses this rage, whether in themselves or in others, is to sit with the discomfort, to ask why, to interrogate the narrative you've been fed. The challenge is to realize that another person's shine does not diminish your own light unless your light was a lie to begin with. And for us, the challenge remains the same as it has always been: to shine anyway, to be excellent, unapologetically, to build our tables since we are so often barred from theirs. Our excellence is our legacy and our liberation. And no amount of rage can extinguish a light that we ourselves created.